Night fishing is always a voyage of discovery for people that haven't done it that much, and you can't help feeling at times that so much time is wasted in certain aspects of it, and I think fining it down helps you to operate that much more efficiently once your feet are on the ground and running around the lakes. I may not be the ideal person to talk to you about it, simply because I spent my life as a paratrooper for 22 years, jumping out of an aircraft with a container, known as a rucksack to me and you, hanging off of my parachute harness that could weigh up to 200 pounds, with food, ammunition, radios, radio batteries, mortar ammunition, anything that was needed on the ground. And I had to live for 3 days like that. So everything I do is minimalistic as possible. And I must admit, sleeping on a bed chair with an umbrella over my head is abject luxury to me compared to the way I used to have to live in the army. Now, the first thing I've done when I've got to a lake, when I've decided where I want to be, the first thing I'm going to do, unless it's absolutely peeing down with rain, is get my rods out first. Why waste an hour of your time on the bank if, say, you're on a 24-hour session and the night falls right in the middle of it? Why waste an hour setting up your accommodation and making sure you're comfy? The thing to be comfortable about is your rods and the way that they are fishing. That's how you get results in the winter, and that's how you fill your confidence levels up. And believe you me, they'll keep you warmer than the best sleeping bag in the world. The rods are in the water. I'm very, very happy with where they are and the way they've been baited. That means I haven't got to mess about with them anymore, and I can do the most important thing, which is watch the water. You'll notice all of my gear is still on the barrow, and there it will stay until I'm 100% sure that this is where I need to be for the night. I understand if you're on very, very busy waters, often it's very difficult to move on to the fish, but still leave setting up your barrow till after you've got the rods out. It increases the amount of time you've got a hook bait in the water, and yeah, the longer it's in there, the more likely you are to get a bite. I'm going to sit here looking now for a while. If I see them elsewhere on the lake, especially at the time of year I'm at now, then I'm going to move and set up there. But for the moment, I'm happy. My gear will stay there until it starts to get dark. Okay, time marches on, but I've had my rods in the water and fishing all the time that I've been here, and that to me is the main thing about any session, especially when I'm fishing overnight, because by the time I want to get to setting my gear up, I'll just be happy with everything. I haven't got to look at anything and not feel happy about it when I'm trying to get my head down. The rods are over there on their own. I fish 2 rods quite close together. It looks well cool. 3 rods I don't fish close. I can't imagine people trying to get that middle rod out of those 3 in the middle of the night. What a nightmare. Last thing you want to do is send all your rods flying. If I was going to fish a 3rd one, it would be on its own rest and away from the other ones. That's just something that I would do. You know, I want it to be easy once I get to them. I know where they are in the swim. I know where the landing net is in the swim, and there's nothing in between me and the mouth of my accommodation that's going to get in the way. And the only thing to do after that, now the shadows are lengthening as the sun starts to go down, is to set up the accommodation. With the fishing taken care of, it's now time obviously to put up my accommodation. I've seen the area I want to put that bivvy, but the thing to take into consideration straight away is the direction of the wind, or where you expect any weather to come from. The last thing you want is it to be blowing directly into your face. The wind here, fortunately for me, is coming from behind, so I can set my bivvy up, and my widescreen TV will be switched on, which is the whole of the lake looking out the front of my bivvy. You can get a bivvy where you've got zips and fronts on them, and they do keep the weather out. I don't use them simply because I want to have as much of that widescreen TV on as possible. I don't want to zip up the doors of a bivvy and put a TV on. I can't see the point in fishing. You might as well be at home in the living room. Looking at the water is one of the strongest things you can do in carp fishing. Finding out about the environment that you're fishing in and what the fish are doing, and anything you see you take note of. And to me, with a door zip down, you cut yourself off from the world. And let's not forget, Carp fishing it's not sort of a time out when it gets dark. It's probably the time that they'll be the most active, and you want to see that activity, so take note of it. Not maybe you can't move because it's a busy water, but you will take note of that on your return, and you'll know at certain times where the fish will be, hopefully. So the bivvy itself will go here. Orientate the bivvy as best you can from the direction of the wind. If it's coming straight in your face, I would orientate it so you can see as much of the water as you can, including your rods. The decks are clear, you've got nothing to worry about running to them, but just make sure you've got as much view of the water as you possibly can. It's something that people forget. You know, casting out the rods doesn't mean it's the end of your activity. That activity should last the 24 hours, the 36 hours that you're there on the water, or even if you're just there for an overnighter. You know, keep working and looking at carp and finding out where they are is part of that work and helping you to get nearer to a capture. Okay, my 60-inch oval brolly is up. The deck is clear, I can get to my rods, I know where my landing net is, and although it might look at like a very, very simple environment, there's a very, very good reason for it. All I take out of my barrow is what for my immediate needs. My brew kit, my bucket with all my hook baits in, toppers, dips, etc., your water bottle, and behind me I've got a very small mat that goes behind, and I just put my tackle box behind there with my rig box alongside it, and maybe my food will go there too. Yeah, that's all that I ever need. I've learned to live a very simple life in the outdoors, and it continued into my carp fishing, and with everything covered up with a cover on top of the barrow so it doesn't get wet, I'm able to move a whole lot quicker. And the other thing is I don't have to tear down so much kit. It might seem that you need to take everything but the kitchen sink with you, but it slows you down, doesn't allow you to fully enjoy what I think carp fishing should be all about. We should be chasing them around, not just sitting there waiting for the bell to ring. There's one other very noticeable point. I'm not on about moving in the morning and when the daylight has filled the sky. I'm on about moving when you see those fish, be it 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. You can move, you can go there. Even if you just casting out single hook baits, when you get there, at least you are somewhere where the fish are and you've put the effort into to catching it. I've always found the more effort I put in, the more pleasure I get from the capture itself. We're all individuals in carp fishing. We all want different things. For a lot of people, carp fishing is a massive escape from the routine of work every day, just getting away and being on your own. Yeah, maybe you do want to zip the door down and watch a television, but for me, it's all about the experience. It's all about looking at nature, looking at it going around. The kingfisher has been quartering across the lake all day long. We've seen herons and all kinds of wildlife around here. And to me, that is the picture that I want in my head about carp fishing, not the latest movie. So be prepared to move come day or night. It is so important, and there's nothing better. Walker said it all those years ago, 1 hour in the right place is worth 5 in the wrong. There's a lot of things said in carp fishing with no backup at all, and I think the best way to express anything that I put over to you is to give you an example. A couple of years ago, more than a couple of years, 3 years ago now, I was down in Essex on a little syndicate water. I was able to drive around a fair bit of the lake, but eventually after I'd set up, it was raining, it was cold, it was the middle of November. I saw fish showing over the other side of the lake, and I sat there for about 10 minutes, and it was not really hammering down, but raining enough to get things wet. And to me, I knew where the fish were. I'd found them at long last. I'd gone on a hunch to set up where I was, and eventually, by keeping my eyes on the water in the middle of a winter night, I saw where they were. I bundled all the gear and whizzed round there just as fast as I could, got myself set up, did everything that I would normally do, and in the end I caught one of the fish that I'd been there to catch in the first place, a 41-pound and 9-ounce mirror carp, a very dark, handsome beast in all its winter colours. And yeah, whatever time of year It's the kind of thing you got to do if you want to catch the fish you want to catch. There's some very vital aspects of carp fishing that a lot of people don't give enough attention to. Yes, you can look wonderful in your bivvy and a sparkling rod pod and all the rest of it, but you need to be able to operate efficiently at night. Now, if you do catch a fish, the next thing you want to do once you put that fish back and had a photograph or whatever is to get your rod back out on that spot as efficiently and as quickly as you possibly can. And accuracy can be such an important aspect of carp fishing. So the first thing you need to do is, when you've first done it and you've put it in a clip and wrapped it around your distance sticks and taken note of that distance, is to wrap it up again and get it into the clip. You're ready to go. Make sure in your bivvy, as I do, I'm using my little mesh PVA bags of 10 and 15mm hybrid boilies with a few response pellets in there. I'll have 4 or 5 of those tied up ready to go for the night. All I need to do on my leg clip then is put the loop over, put the anti-tangle sleeve over it, and I'm back in action. It is absolutely vital to do that. And I'll tell you one of the things that I found, especially if you're fishing in close, I think carp will put up with a constant light all night long. If you had a very dim light underneath your brolly or in your bivvy, I think they can put up with that. But if you've got a light flashing around the lake all the time, that can destroy an awful lot of things in carp, can send them away. And if you're only there for the night, they'll probably come back the night after and eat the bait that they missed the night before. So keep lights to a minimum. The more that you're ready on the bank to put your hook bait back in the water, the less light you have to throw around. I use a red light when I'm fishing because a red light is less penetrative and won't travel as far as a white light. Same with the green light, they're just as good as the red. In the main, I'm trying to use my own eyes, my own night vision, if you like. A lot of people, when they're looking for their cigarettes or putting on a brew or something, all they want to do is flick a head torch on. And I do feel that sometimes, certainly if you're fishing in close, that can ruin your chances of catching a fish. So get used to your eyes in the dark. Mine do, because I never shut them and I'm looking at the water most of the time, and sometimes I go to sleep in that position. Baiting up, then, you need to do the same with your spod. That needs to be wrapped up at a distance you're putting that hook bait, so that you can quickly fill that up, maybe put a couple of spods back over the top. Probably one of the most important things is a skyline marker. Look on the horizon and find the tree that you're casting at, something or where the trees drop down a little lower. Draw a map of it in a notebook, just make a complete reference of that, something that you can refer to. And then you're aiming at the right spot, and you've got your you've got the rod in a clip. Make sure you bang on the money. With a catapult, it's a little bit difficult to do it, but what I do is cast it out, it hits the clip. As it goes down, it's not going to be that far out, so it's quite easy. And then I'll bend down. I will already have some 10mm or 15mm in the pouch. Make sure I get them back into the rings where that lead has hit the water, and once I've got a few pouches out and I want to bait up, I can lift the rod up then and put it on the rest. Accuracy can sometimes be the most important thing. Whilst I don't want to be totally accurate, I want to spread that bait out a little bit. As I will always say, a carp's easier to hook when it's on the move between mouthfuls. But to get it accurately around in the area you put the hook bait is vital. And those are the ways of doing it at night. And once you get into the rhythm of doing that, everything just becomes easier and quite natural. And once everything we've talked about has been done, the decks are clear, the rods are out, you know where the landing net is, you know where everything is in your bivvy, and you've got a view of the lake so you can react to everything. The last thing you need to really think about is what you're going to do when you hook a carp. Make sure you know where everything is, where the hooking mat is, and all the products you'll use for looking after that carp. And they're vital, obviously. You know, we'll get to that a little bit in a minute, but actually landing the carp itself, For donkey's years, I never ever used a head torch to land a fish. I always just watched the swirls on the surface, and I never really had a problem. And you know, the first time I ever put a torch on was when I hooked a massive carp down in 𝗧𝗵𝗶𝘀 down in Somerset. And the first time I ever flicked off, I sort of moved back to my bivvy a bit, picked up my torch, put it on my head and clicked it onto the red filter, got back into playing the fish, and it happened to be a 53 pounder, and I nearly lost the ability to breathe, and up popped a 53 pounder. And you know, I've done it ever since, but I don't wear my torch in bed. I have a way of getting out of bed, and that torch gets grabbed on the way to my rods. It hangs off the edge of my water butt, and it's there. I know exactly where it is. I don't even have to think about it. I know when I get to those rods that torch will be in hand as well. And once I've sorted, I don't need a torch when it's at range. Once I've got that fish, say, into the open water, away from dangers and moving out of the weed, I can fit the head torch in, get it onto the red filter and get it into the net. Now, once the fish is on the bank, it's about carp care. And to operate with maximum efficiency, I will put that onto white light, because I want to see everything. I don't want anything to get in the way. I don't want to miss something, and I want to look after that carp the best I can. And in white light, that is the best thing I can do. You may also need white light to photograph that fish at night too, just to improve the lighting so that your phone or a camera can take the picture. So there are times when I like white light, but most of the time, if I'm going to put a torch on, it'll be with the red filter. And yeah, again, I'm an ex-army man, and we were never ever allowed to show light at night, and probably be a few weekend duties if you got caught doing it. So I'm so used to living the way that I do and doing the things that I do. So but all I've found is it's helped my fishing, helped me to enjoy the thing, and not just go out camping. That's the main thing. I've talked a lot and in depth about my night fishing and the way that I go about things. But I just want to put things in a nutshell and tell you my top 5 things regarding night fishing. 1, being able to see the lake. 2, being able to see the lake. 3, being able to see the lake. 4, being able to see the lake. And number 5, I would want to be able to see the lake. Now, I'd love to leave it there, but Joe would not put up with a silly old fool saying such nonsense. There are other things that are important, but number 1 for me is being able to see the lake as much as I possibly can. I keep my eyes there as long as I can, and hopefully the carp will give me all the clues that I need. Number 2, mobility. Once those carp have told me what to do, I need to be able to do it. So I make sure that everything I don't need at night is packed away on the barrow, and I have the ability to move as quickly and as efficiently as possible. Number 3, accuracy. The most important thing for me as well is to get my hook bait back in position as quickly and as efficiently as possible. Finding those pieces on the horizon to cast to and getting your distances right around the poles. To me, accuracy is very, very high up there and is what catches you more carp. Number 4, my brew kit. I cannot imagine ever going fishing without being able to drink a cup of tea. The 2 and 2 go hand in hand. You know, it's like cream and jam in a scone. It's the same sort of thing. A cup of tea and carp fishing is, they were made in heaven. And lastly, number 5. You may find it a little surprising for me to say this, bearing in mind how sparse I am with the equipment I take, but it's comfort. To operate to your full efficiency, you need to have comfort. I've got a one-piece suit on here, which is ideal. The bottom layer is a little long sleeve t-shirt, and I've got the long john bottoms on as well. A sweat top over the top, and I'm good to go. That keeps me warm, keeps me moving. The other thing is a rain suit. Take a rain suit with you and stop yourself getting wet. You don't want the rain drying out on your body. That's what causes discomfort. And once you get uncomfortable, it's when you start to take your foot off the pedal and you're not fishing as effectively as you can. Yeah, those are my 5, and I hope they help. I never want to be one that stands there or writes down that this is exactly what people ought to do. What I've shown you with regards to my night fishing has evolved over years and evolved around the way of life that I led as a soldier and the things that I want from my carp fishing. We're all different. We're all individuals, and we want things to be probably slightly different from the next man. Whether you're just getting into carp fishing or you've been carp fishing for a long time, I just hope that some of that has helped you along the way. Many people that are new to carp fishing can be daunted by carp fishing. They probably look at it as like, almost an impossible move, but it isn't. It's a wonderful way of finding out about yourself and the way that you want to do things. Being organised was one of the big things you've seen with everything that I do, and knowing where everything is and sorting yourself out in that way. Find out the things that you want and do them, but do them in a way that's going to help you to catch carp. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter how good I look on the bank. It doesn't matter how tidy everything is. If my hook baits are in the right place and I'm holding up a carp for the camera after a night's fishing, then I've hit the nail on the head, and I hope it'll happen for you.